And we're rolling. Okay, hello. Today is, what is today? Today's July 13th, 2018, and this is your reading. Let me just look at the questions you sent. So you said, I'd like to know, what does my current boyfriend really feel about me? How soon will I get a job? And finally, I'd like to know if I can fully trust my boyfriend. So, first of all, I'll say, in the tarot community, I know it's sort of ethically questionable to look into someone's mind who hasn't given consent. So I'm not really gonna try to ask the tarot what your boyfriend feels about you. That's something I think you can ask him yourself. But we can look at the relationship dynamic between you and him, what his energy and your energy look like together. And then we can also look at the job thing. And I hope that, you know, the feelings and the trust will come out as we look at the energy. So, I asked you to send the 9-digit number, and I used that numerologically to pick a card for you out of these two decks. Actually, I mixed these two decks together. There's the Gods and Titans Oracle deck and the Goddesses and Sirens. So there's a mixture of masculine and feminine energy here. And I just wanted to pick, I always like to start with an Oracle card to set the tone for the reading. So let's see what you got here, okay? You got Thor. And Thor is all about action. So really the theme of this reading is about what kind of actions can you take to get what you want or to resolve your problems. So we can go ahead and put this aside for the moment. Now, the cards you picked in the blue bag, these are the Universal Weight Tarot, and these are the ones I will be using for your reading. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to draw 3 cards for you, just to lay a foundation. One, 2, 3. Okay, let's see how we start off. Okay, so for the beginning here, we kind of got a mishmash here. So let's see. It looks like coming up on this reading that well, let me turn it right side up for you. This is Pentacles. This is about pragmatics, about earth, about this is about jobs, and from a pragmatic sort of perspective often. This is not about jobs meaning following your passion. It's really about earning money to pay the bills. It's about working diligently on your craft, and you can see that it came up reversed. So there's a blockage there. And I think, you told me that actually you're looking for a job right now. So that's kind of where you're coming from. Now, the Queen of Swords is, I like to kind of look at this immediate past, immediate future, present moment. So the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords is, the swords are the suit of the mind. So mind is all about logic, about thought, about ideas, about mental things. And in excess, that becomes anxiety. It can become depression. The Queen is a leader, is a ruler, and the Queens rule with a more nurturing side, a more passive way, meaning taking a step back and taking in the whole scene. So here in the present moment, it seems like this is a period where you really need to think about what's going on in your life and how you can use it in a way that can transform your current situation. So there's a lot of butterfly imagery on this card. So the crown is actually made of butterflies, and there are butterflies in the relief on the side of the throne here. And butterflies, of course, are a great symbol of transformation because the caterpillar basically dies and is reborn a butterfly. So where can you use logic right now to change your situation and to take action for your situation, actually, to change it in your favor? the card's right side up, so I feel like this is absolutely doable for you, that you can use your logic to figure it out. And this is in a nurturing way, so you're not going to be I don't want to say you're not going to be assertive, but you're not going to be doing, you're not going to, the insight that you get from thinking about your current situation, I don't think it's something that you're going to use in an aggressive way. I think it's something that you're going to use in a more nurturing way. Now here you have the Lovers reversed. So since you gave me 2 questions on 2 different topics, however, the Lover applies to both of them, and it's a major arcana card. I feel this is actually fairly significant for you, what's about to come into your life. So the Lovers card, clearly it has the word lovers in it, so it's about lovers. But usually not all tarot readings are about romance though. So the basic definition for me is about contracts, because originally marriages were about really bringing members of 2 families together so that you could do something strategically. Like, a man might try to get a daughter to marry his son for the dowry, for the money that's been saved that comes along with the bride. Or if 2 powerful families who are royalty, for instance, might do it for strategic reasons, or for reasons of merging two kingdoms or whatever like that. So the contractual aspect, this is actually speaking to both of the things that you asked me, because you asked me about job, and a job is really a contract between you and another party, but also your relationship, which is an agreement of, relationships are agreements between 2 people, and because it came blocked, I'm going to say that in the near future, in your life, this whole relationship between you and a new job, and a relationship between you and your partner, it's looking pretty blocked. Because this is I'm starting out generally here, I would say that both have a potential to be blocked, but let's look at each individually just to make sure what this is referring to, whether it's truly referring to both or if it's only referring to maybe one of the 2 things that you asked about. For me, reversals, the blockage I see are delay. So in terms of job, it could be that the things to manifest a contract between you and an employer may be delayed. The other way I read blockages is that it's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough slog. Things that are hard usually take a long time, so those are kind of the same thing, really. You and your partner, I would say that it could mean that, the mountain that you see in the distance, it's actually kind of a wedge. It might wedge you 2 apart as a from a relationship perspective. So let's you asked me 2 questions about your relationship. So let's start with your relationship and then look at your job. So let me just kind of concentrate on the cards again and draw some more for you. Okay. I'm going to draw a card for you. I'm going to draw a card for your boyfriend. And then I'm going to draw a card for what your relationship looks like, so the energy between the 2 of you. Okay. Okay. So let me start with you. Okay, so this is the 7 of Wands. This is about passion. This is about a battle of wills. So I don't know if there's some argument happening right now, but when I think of a battle of wills, it's 2 strong personalities that are kind of clashing here. The way this card is configured, the man in the figure, is he's actually standing on high ground, and there's people attacking him from below, right? I love to contrast the 7 of Wands with the 5 of Wands, and I have another deck here. It's in order, and I just want to show you the contrast to make a point. So the 7 of Wands, the guy is on high ground. If you look at, there's a similar battle of wills going on in the 5, but all the figures in here look similar. They're all standing on level ground. They're all dressed similarly, so there's no clear, person with an advantage in this card. It's just kind of all the same, and it may be just minor squibbling here. But with the 7, I think of being on the higher ground in a number of ways. I think like sometimes the higher ground means you are taking the high ground in terms of like, you know, you're asserting your will because you have the more noble ideal that you're fighting for. The other way I look at the high ground here is that it could be that, you know, you've been through this trial and tribulation before, you've done it before, and now this time around you know how to deal with it. You're in an advantaged position because you fought this battle before. Back in the 5, you fought this battle before. Now you're a 7. So I mean the things go in sequence, right, as a story. So 5, 6, 7. You've won some battles in the past, but you've done it before. But now it seems like you're doing it again, but you kind of know the score this time. Now, there's one other aspect to this card that I like to point out. It looks like you might not have been prepared for this battle because you had to scramble to get here so quickly that you're wearing 2 different shoes, right? If you look at yourself and like if you look at this as a representation of yourself, so there might have been an aspect of this battle of wills being unexpected. Now, let's look at the energy of your boyfriend here. So there's an eclipse going on in this card, and actually a lot of people think of this card, the moon, as being an eclipse. And you know what? There's actually an eclipse happening right now. There's an eclipse of the moon happening, which is kind of funny that we got 2 eclipse cards in the tarot. Well, it's not funny. That's tarot, right? This is the way it works. This card was reversed, so don't let me get distracted because sometimes I forget if they're reversed or not as I'm talking. But so what it looks like for your boyfriend is that he is looking for something that is lost. So this is the 8 of Cups. The cups are about emotions, where over here the wands were about will, the passion inside of you. Cups are about emotions and how you're feeling and how those things flow. It's very watery. So the way the 8 of Cups are arranged in this deck, you can see clearly that they're arranged such that there's a hole, and there's one missing. So the man that you see, or the figure that you see running, well not running, moving off into the distance with his staff, and basically, actually the staff here is also a type of wand, echoing the wands over here. He's using his will to go on a journey, to find what's missing. So something is missing for him on an emotional level, and so he's going elsewhere to find it. Since you are concerned about, you didn't really say in your question in what way you're having trust issues with your boyfriend, but it does kind of seem like this might be a cheating situation where there's something that he's not getting. There's some sort of emotional fulfillment that he's not getting right now, probably in the relationship, but it could be anywhere, right? You know, because like one area of your life might affect another, but something emotionally is happening where he's not feeling fulfilled, and it feels like there's something missing, and he's off looking to get it, right? There's the feminine energy of the moon in this card, the eclipse, right? The sun or the moon are being eclipsed here. And the moon, I always look at, since the moon is actually between you right now, is, well, let me get to the moon. So that's where I'm seeing your boyfriend. The relationship between you, it's also reversed. There's 2 main aspects to the moon, and the moon is actually another major arcana card. I don't know how familiar with the tarot you are, but this is usually about big, larger themes in your life, big things in your life rather than small things. So here the moon is, number 1, about hidden knowledge. The reason why it would be hidden knowledge that you don't have easy access to, is that the moon, you can always see the man in the moon. You know, the side of the moon that faces the earth is always the same. It just spins once per revolution, so it's always facing us. And there's a side of the moon that's hidden, and we never see it because it never faces the earth. So that's where hidden knowledge comes in to the moon. So there's some sort of like knowledge you need to find that's hidden from you. It's occluded. You don't have easy access to this knowledge. And this is the energy of the relationship. So there's something happening, or there's something about the relationship, and that the aspect of it is occluded, it's hidden. The secondary meaning I like to look at in the moon is there's this crayfish coming out of the water, and the crayfish, there's a path from the edge of the water that just goes for miles and miles into the mountains. And in order to travel this path, you have to pass by these two beasts, and you have to pass through these two gates, these towers. So really, I look at this as a metaphor for a type of evolution as well, like, you know, the primordial life coming out of the water to evolve anew on land. This is where life came from. So there's an evolution between you, and there's some hidden knowledge to be looked for between you, and it's blocked. So that means that this evolution is going to be tough. It's going to take a lot of work, or this hidden knowledge is going to be hard to find out, or it's going to be a while before it comes to the surface. But there's really something going on here. Well, I don't know, you read into it what you need to read into it. Now, in terms of the relationship, I want to draw a guide for you. Okay, so I drew, I don't know where to put it, I'll put it right here. So the guide I drew for you is the Six of Cups, and it was reversed. So the Six of Cups is the card of nostalgia, about being sweet to another person. You can see that the boy is offering the girl a cup full of flowers. It's just like a sweet, nostalgic card. And then in the background, there's, you know, buildings, and then there's a man walking with a spear on the street here. So spears, that's a weapon. There's probably a war going on, but, you know, there's all sorts of things going out in the world. But you can, like in the foreground though, you can focus on this sweet scene where, you know, these kids are unaware of what's going on in the real world. I always look at this as, well, there's nostalgia, and of course it's a six. So, you know, a six is sort of an emotional victory, an emotional fulfillment, but it was blocked for you. So the guide, there's something, well, this is about a relationship, so clearly you wouldn't be in the relationship if there weren't wonderful things that had happened with this person. So the guide, this being a guide for you, I think, is to try to refind, try to do things, or look into the past where things were sweet and wonderful, like the drawing in this picture, and figure out, well, how can you bring elements of that back if you want this relationship to continue. It's going to be hard because it was reversed, but I usually think about the six of Cups in a relationship reading. When this comes up for me, I usually think this is an indicator that really think like the Queen of Swords. Use your logic and reason to think about the times when, on an emotional level, things were very fulfilling in the past, because it's nostalgia. And think about, well, how can you bring those things back into the present? It's going to be hard because it is, it's reversed here. But I think that digging down deep and trying to figure out, you know, how to make it so that, you know, when he wasn't feeling unfulfilled, when he was feeling fulfilled, basically, what was going on then? And how can you make that happen today? So a lot of emotion here on the romantic front. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to switch over to the job now, because I think that's pretty clear. Okay, so in terms of the job, how am I going to look at this? Well, you said that you're currently unemployed, so there's no current job to future job aspect to look at, nothing to compare. So I think what I'll do is I'll just draw a job that, let's take a temperature read on your prospects, number one. Let's see. Let's look at the prospects, and then you did actually, I think I asked you a clarification question. Okay, so the two areas you're focusing on are human resources and customer service. So why don't we look at human resources, and let's look at customer service. Okay. And wow, majors. Okay, you have lots of big cards on the job front. Okay, so like the general energy of the job, you have like the Ten of Pentacles. So Pentacles in terms of jobs are having, the 10 would be like the finishing of a journey, right? It's kind of like the epilogue, it's the conclusion. It's in terms of Pentacles, the scene is, you know, is basically it's fulfillment. There's like 3 generations present in this card. There's like, you can tell that they are living it. If you interpret this as a family, it's like, you know, the parent level, child level, and then a couple. They're living, they're quite well off, right? They look affluent. Now, it seems like on the job front, though, having affluence, being able to be the provider, all of the things that you can think of for Pentacles, so like being grounded, feeling settled, feeling comfortable, all of those sorts of things, that's on the job front. This is blocked. So, you know, I guess this is kind of telling me, you know, where you are. Now, let's see, which was the order? Human resources, customer services, customer service. So the Hermit is a solitary figure, and these are both major arcana. So like the relationship was a major arcana. The 2 choices for you for work were the major arcana. And it's, okay, so there's just big shit going on in your life right now. So I feel like the prospects are better, though, for the customer service side than the human resources. So the Hermit for a job, one of the ways I look at this is that in the human resources job, there'll be an aspect of it where you're feeling like you're flying solo, where you don't have a lot of support, where you have to do everything, being the Hermit. Now, it's not saying that you can't necessarily be successful, but because it was reversed, I would say that this path is the tougher path. Now, there is the aspect of he's carrying this lantern that has a star in it, so, you know, the Hermit has found the wisdom that he was seeking. But you notice that the wisdom that he was seeking is still external to him. So there's something there in terms of the human resources, and there could be a satisfaction of your passion because he is holding a wand as well. But it being reversed, I would say that you know, what the indication here is that it might be kind of lonely. Lonely meaning like there's not a lot of ways to have a collaborative experience at this job, and all of the pressure and all of the maybe the decision making, something will be all on your shoulders and you won't have help, right, as the Hermit. Now on the customer service side, it looks like this one looks really positive because you got the Magician, right? The Magician, he has all 4 of the suits in front of him. Number 1, swords, cups, pentacles, and wands. And, you know, magicians, they manifest things. So it looks like in a customer service position, you can really manifest what you want out of a job. And this actually might, because it's a major arcana card too, rather than a job, I feel like the customer service thing is more of a career. Like you can really take the reins and actually make this into something that you want, like the thing that you've been searching for. So definitely I would say things look a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. You have a lot more potential for upward movement, I guess I will say. I feel like that there's like, you know, you can actually make this job, make a customer service job into the one that you actually want. Now, I had drawn a number for you earlier. I had used that number to pick a card for you earlier as well, which I always like to tie the reading up with. So the 9-digit number. So this is kind of like, I always use that, the 9-digit number card to sort of sum up the reading. Sometimes it kind of resonates with everything and just like ties everything together. And oh my God, okay, so it's also a major arcana card. Wow, so this is a big time of life for you. So this is the High Priestess. So the advice I would give you via the High Priestess is, where can you be the High Priestess in solving your problems of relationship and solving your problems in on the work front. So the High Priestess, she has a scroll here, and that's kind of like, well, it says the Torah on it, but it's kind of like, you can look at it as wisdom, knowledge, understanding what to do, divine knowledge. And she's very watery, but she's very emotionally stable. You can see everything kind of dissolves into water. You've got a moon here as well, and her crown is also the 3 phases of the moon. Lots of moon energy here. But she's protecting something, right? She is a protector because there's a tapestry behind her, or a curtain. So we don't actually know what's behind there. So she's really the gatekeeper for the knowledge, and she's sitting in front of water too. So she's also the gatekeeper for, on some level of emotion as well. Now, I think as a guide, or to sum up this reading, it's really about, where can you be the High Priestess? So, in terms of like relationship dynamics and job dynamics, the High Priestess is the one who figures out, when someone approaches a High Priestess, she doesn't have to help them. She has a choice because she is the High Priestess, right? So I think what this is going to really indicate to you is that, in terms of a real relationship, it needs to be about what you want. So a High Priestess is not going to beg or I don't want to use the word beseech, but she's really going to be able to take the reins and decide what she wants to happen, whether or not she's going to have a relationship with someone or not, whether she's going to allow this person to ask a question if you look at her as an oracle. Likewise, the High Priestess is not going to just take whatever job is offered her. The High Priestess is going to, how should I say, make an informed decision to benefit her and her vision. So I think in both of these areas, it's not just about taking a job for the sake of it. It's really about thinking about what you want in order to make your dreams come true over here. Same thing with the relationship. It's like, it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to continue in this relationship, or if you want to move on. This is the advice to you, to really take an active, now, because of all the moon energy, and also we had the Queen of Swords earlier too, this is not being aggressive. This is not laying down the law with masculine energy and authoritative energy and making demands. It's about using feminine energy, feminine intuition, right? All this moon type style knowledge and stuff. It's about really taking a moment, sitting back, being strategic in your thought, and really behaving like a priestess who, deserves respect, right? Priestesses, you can just tell by the way she's sitting. If you were approaching her, you would immediately be respectful. So how can you make sure that in the job search and in the relationship that you are demanding the respect that you deserve? I think that's all I have to say. Best of luck to you in your endeavors, and I hope everything works out good for you.